Donald Trump's press secretary, Karoline Leavitt, who I call his chief propagandist, just had a meltdown on live TV, a disastrous press conference in the White House. She was asked about Jeffrey Epstein's connections with Donald Trump and whether Trump was an informant. Here's what she says. Play this clip.
You know, Mike Johnson, he came out and said that the president was an FBI informant. Do you know what he meant by that, if it's not true?
I can affirm that is not true. I think the speaker was referring to the fact that President Trump kicked Jeffrey Epstein out of his Mar-a-Lago property for reasons the president has already discussed. John.
Well, that's interesting because MAGA Mike Johnson said that Donald Trump was an FBI confidential informant. Interesting, Karoline. Then Karoline Leavitt on the Epstein files says that this is just the Democrats desperately trying to concoct a hoax to smear Donald Trump. That's why the birthday card with Donald Trump's signature was subpoenaed and produced, and now all of MAGA's claiming it is a forgery. Come on, Karoline. Here, play this clip.
You addressed the crime of Irina Zurika, and the president has done a lot to deliver justice for victims of crimes like that horrific stabbing. And the Epstein files are back in the news because a lot of Americans feel that that Jeffrey Epstein's victims never got justice. Does the president care about these victims? Do you think he can does he want to deliver more justice for them, and is he willing to meet with them?
The president cares about victims of all crimes, and that's why Republicans in the Trump Department of Justice have done more in terms of transparency when it comes to the Epstein case than any prior administration. And why are the Democrats all of a sudden caring about this? It's because they are desperately trying to concoct a hoax to smear the president of the United States. We have seen this time and time again. Ro Khanna and all of these other Democrats, they could have cared about those victims 4 years ago when Joe Biden was in office. They could have pushed for transparency then. Unfortunately, the Democrats are using victims as political pawns to try to smear and to push a hoax against the president of the United States. And I will get you numbers on the amount of child predators that this administration and this FBI and this Department of Justice have locked up under President Trump's leadership. We have done more than any president to protect victims of crime, especially disgusting, heinous sexual crimes. And that includes the deportation of illegal aliens who are perpetrating these crimes against innocent victims in our country right now today. And that remains a top priority for this administration.
Then a reporter asked Karoline Leavitt, okay, well, you say he didn't sign the birthday card, but it comes from the Epstein estate. So like, what's your working theory of how that forgery got into the files that were maintained by the Epstein estate, which contain all of these other letters from other people who were also friends with Epstein at the time? Here, play this clip.
If he didn't sign these, if you said he didn't sign the birthday card, he didn't do this, he also didn't do the check, those were in documents from the estate. So what is the working theory as to why he's in them?
The president has one of the most famous signatures in the world, and he has for many, many years. You know that, Maggie, you've covered him for a long time, long before he assumed this office when he was a businessman in New York. The president did not write that letter. He did not sign those documents. He maintains that position, and that position will be argued in court by his lawyers. The president is very confident he is going to win this case.
I'm going to do another hot take on this for the morning, but as I've analyzed some of the other pages in that Epstein birthday book even more, others have pointed this out as well. It looks like that some of the people who were writing to Epstein were drawing photos of Mar-a-Lago in the photo where it showed the kind of girls being groomed to do Epstein massages. So I'm going to do another hot take on that. And also, you are aware that one of the other birthday cards in the book talked about Donald Trump paying Epstein $22,000 for a fully depreciated woman. And so Karoline Leavitt is asked about it. So one of the documents shows Epstein holding a check from Donald Trump for a depreciated woman at the cost of $22,000. Here, play this clip.
Thanks, Caroline. One of the other documents released by the House Oversight Committee contained a photo of Jeffrey Epstein holding an oversized check that was made out to him in the check from the president for $22,000 for a fully depreciated woman. I wondered if the president has any recollection of that or what you guys make of that photo that was included in those documents.
Did you see the signature on that check? It is not Donald Trump's signature. It is absolutely not. The president did not sign that check.
But does he recognize
Jordan,
the woman?
go ahead.
Thank you,
No.
Caroline.
As we wrote on the MeidasTouch network, Karoline Leavitt is part of a pedophile child sex abuse cover-up ring. Let's just start calling it what it is. Good questions at this press conference, I have to say. Usually I've been disappointed in the questions. Here are some good ones. The next question is, what did Donald Trump mean when he says if a man fights with a woman, that's not a crime? Is he saying that domestic violence he doesn't view to be criminal? Here, play this clip.
As I said earlier as well.
Okay, thank you. And yesterday, the president spoke about DC crime and talked about how there was virtually none. And then he expressed frustration about things that take place in the home they call crime. He said, you know, they'll do anything they can to find something. If a man has a little fight with the wife, they say this is crime. See, now I can't claim 100%. Exactly what crimes was the president referring to?
He wasn't referring to crimes. That's exactly the point he was making, Ouija. What the president is saying is that these crimes will be made up and reported as a crime to undermine the great work that the federal task force is doing to reduce crime in Washington, D.C. And I think the president has every reason to believe that, given the efforts of many reporters in this room who actively seek to undermine the president and what he's doing in our nation's capital. We all know that deep inside you all agree with this because you all live here, and I'm sure you are very grateful for the administration's efforts to make the city, which we all reside in, much safer for ourselves and our families. Michael.
Then Karoline Leavitt talks more about the Epstein files and says it is all a distraction from all of the achievements we've made over the past 8 months. What achievements would those be? Making things less affordable, destroying our alliances abroad, not ending the war in Ukraine in 24 hours, the atrocities in Gaza getting worse. Today, Israel hit a sovereign nation of Qatar in the Doha residential area. How is this getting? This is the golden age. Jobless claims are some of the worst in a generation. Anyway, here's what she says. Play this clip.
What exactly is the hoax? I'm just trying to understand what's fake. What's fake is not the documents.
The hoax
then?
is the Democrats pretending to care about victims of crime when they do not care about victims of crime, when they have done nothing to solve crimes, when they have done nothing to lock up child pedophiles and child rapists across the country, and when they are now using victims as political props to try and, again, smear the president of the United States and drag on this bad story about him. It is a distraction. The Democrats view this story as nothing more than an attempt to distract from the accomplishments and the achievements of this administration. And that is what we mean when we call it a hoax.
She's then asked if Donald Trump is concerned at all that the prices that are surging now as a result of tariffs is going to cause a Great Depression or a recession, because we, the people, certainly feel that way. And she goes, nope, actually things are going great. We've beat all of the inflation expectations. We're doing great. Golden age, she says. Here, play this clip.
Now that we have these revised jobs numbers, is the president concerned at all that price spikes, stemming from his tariffs through the end of the year might actually be driving the country towards a depression or a recession? What I'm asking is he committed to these policies now that we know how faulty the jobs data was?
The president is committed to his policies because his policies are working, Christian. And there have been a lot of people fear-mongering about inflation in this room, but it just has not come to fruition. On a monthly basis, CPI inflation has now come in at or below the market's expectation for 6 consecutive months, every month that President Trump has been in office. Overall, inflation has run at a 1.9% average pace in the president's first 6 months in office. I would have told all of you that in January, you would not have believed me, but those are the facts and those are the numbers. And we also see many. Obviously,
that's not the case. More from Karoline Leavitt saying that Donald Trump did not write the birthday card, that is not his signature, that it's one massive hoax, that he was framed by the Wall Street Journal framed him, the Epstein estate framed him, and they were so smart that over 20 years ago, they knew he would one day be president. So they embedded in the birthday book for Epstein's 50th birthday. At the same time, Donald Trump said Epstein's a great guy who likes beautiful women on the younger side. And when Donald Trump was doing parties with Epstein and all of that, they planted this in where it talks about our secrets never age, and Enigma. Oh, that was the plot here. Anyway, play this clip.
Go ahead.
About the Epstein case, would the White House support a professional handwriting expert review of the document released yesterday to prove that it's not the president's signature?
Sure, we would support that. And in fact, I have already seen many forensic analysts of signatures coming out. I believe it was the Daily Signal that published a piece with 3 separate signature analysts who said that this absolutely was not the president's authentic signature. And we have maintained that position all along. The president did not write this letter. He did not sign this letter. And that's why the president's external legal team is aggressively pursuing litigation against the Wall Street Journal, and they will continue to. Christian.
Then Karoline Leavitt reads a piece of paper about Israel's bombing of Qatar. And she's like, we think that the bombing of Qatar is never a good thing to attack sovereign nations, but attacking Hamas is a good thing. So we informed Qatar before the attack what was going to happen. And she goes, it's very regrettable that we did the strikes in a residential area. You did the strikes in a residential area in Qatar with other people who like live there. Here, play this clip.
Well, I have a statement to read for all of you with respect to the Israeli strike in Doha, and here it is. This morning, the Trump administration was notified by the United States military that as Israel was attacking Hamas, which very unfortunately was located in a section of Doha, the capital of Qatar. Unilaterally bombing inside Qatar, a sovereign nation and close ally of the United States that is working very hard and bravely taking risks with us to broker peace, does not advance Israel or America's goals. However, eliminating Hamas, who have profited off the misery of those living in Gaza, is a worthy goal. President Trump immediately directed Special Envoy Witkoff to inform the Qataris of the impending attack, which he did. The president views Qatar as a strong ally and friend of the United States and feels very badly about the location of this attack.
You know, and the thing is, the Trump regime is making everything just far less safe, far less stable. The rules-based international order being thrown out the door, where Trump posts ISIS-style death videos where he brags about killing 11 Venezuelans who he claimed to be on a drug boat. It looked like people were on a fishing boat. Certainly that 16 to 24-foot boat didn't seem like it has the fuel to get to the United States. And if you say Tren de Aragua was on that boat, they engage in human trafficking. So how do you know you didn't kill people being trafficked? Like, how do you know all of that? But that's Donald Trump throwing the rules-based order out the window. But Donald Trump says, we will use our economic, Karoline says, we'll use our economic might and military might to protect free speech around the world. Like, y'all are the biggest people chilling free speech. You're the most anti-free speech people out there. Here, play this clip.
I can tell you this is a priority for the administration, and the president is unafraid to use the economic might, the military might of the United States of America to protect free speech around the world.
Then she's asked if Donald Trump will ever meet the Epstein victims, and she basically says no. Here, play this clip.
On tariffs. Thanks, Caroline. Follow up on Charlie's question. Would the president meet with the Jeffrey Epstein victims?
I don't have any meetings for you to read out on that.
Caroline,
Go ahead.
Thanks, Caroline.
Then the reporter says, okay, but you said the Epstein documents are a hoax that the Democrats are perpetrating against Trump, that he didn't sign the check or birthday card that he allegedly signed. So again, help us understand one more time. What's the theory since these documents came from the Epstein estate? And she goes, I didn't say the documents were a hoax. You did. I just showed a video. You said that that's not his signature. It's a forgery. So you're saying it's a hoax. Here, play this clip.
Caroline, thank you. I want to follow up on something you said. You said the Epstein documents are a hoax that Democrats are perpetrating against the president. You've said he didn't sign that check, that he didn't sign the birthday card that he allegedly signed. So what is the theory, since these documents came from the Epstein estate? Who is I guess in your view, faking these documents?
I did not say the documents are a hoax. I said the entire narrative surrounding Jeffrey Epstein right now that is absorbing many of the liberal cable channels on television is a hoax that is being perpetuated by opportunistic Democrats like Ro Khanna and the others whom you saw on that press conference outside of Capitol Hill, who are trying to push this hoax against the President of the United States.
You see, they can't even get their lies straight right there. She's asked additional questions about what's the White House response to Americans who are concerned about being swept into ICE raids. Here, play this clip.
After the Supreme Court ruling yesterday on the ICE raids in Los Angeles, some, particularly non-white U.S. citizens, are saying that they're going to begin carrying their U.S. passports with them at all times. What is the White House's response to Americans who are concerned about being swept up, as others have been already, in these enforcement actions?
They should not be concerned because this administration is focused on the detention and deportation of illegal alien criminals who broke our nation's immigration laws. And the Supreme Court upheld the Trump administration's right to stop individuals in Los Angeles to briefly question them regarding their legal status because the law allows this, and this has been the practice of the federal government for decades. And the Immigration and Nationality Act states that immigration officers can briefly stop an individual to question them about their immigration status if the officer has reasonable suspicion that the individual is illegally present in the United States. And
Really? You're saying that Americans should not be concerned about masked ICE agents going into businesses and factories and farms and rounding people up based on their skin color? I think Americans are understandably scared. Then speaking of which, then she was asked about the ICE raid on a Hyundai factory in Georgia, where all of the South Koreans who were working there to train Americans in how to build these batteries and build the things at this plant, that ICE went after the South Koreans who were here with valid papers. They were here training the Americans, exactly what we should actually want to do at these plants. Here was her response to that. Let's play it.
After the immigration raid at the plant in Georgia on Friday, the president said over the weekend that he's open to some kind of changes in perhaps rules or visa rules or law that would prevent something like that happening in the future for skilled workers to train American workers.
That's right.
Can you confirm that and that the administration supports those changes, and what exactly would that look like?
Well, the president said it himself in a statement that he put out on Sunday night, where he is very grateful for foreign companies from around the world and the investments that they are making right here in the United States of America. And he understands that these companies want to bring their highly skilled and trained workers with them, especially when they're creating very niche products like chips, or in this case in Georgia, like batteries. But the president also expects these foreign companies to hire American workers, and for these foreign workers and American workers to work together to train and to teach one another. And so he expects these foreign companies to hire American labor. We want Americans to have these jobs.
And there you have it, folks. Let me know what you think. Hit subscribe. Let's get to 6 million subscribers. What a disastrous press conference.
Love this video? Support independent media and unlock exclusive content, ad-free videos, and custom emojis by becoming a paid member of our YouTube channel today. You can also gift memberships to others. Let's keep growing together.